I know y'all were freaking out because I was 5 minutes late. Sometimes it gets crazy around here. Y'all gotta remember, I got 4 kids. It gets crazy around here. But we made it. Now it's time for YouTube to do their thing. Tell everybody I'm live, please. Please. Tell everybody I'm live. That would be very nice of you. I even forgot to fill my vape before the show. That never happens. I usually... Well, I always have it full, not even usually. I think this is the first time ever I didn't have it full before a show. Hey, y'all don't forget to hit that like button. That helps hit the algorithm. Get this thing promoted in all types of social media platforms. It's free. It's easy. You're not stroking my ego or making me feel good. You can hit the thumbs. If you don't like it, hit the thumbs down. That helps as well. So it's not all about, pleasing me. That's not what it's about. Hitting the thumbs up hits the algorithm. It gets promoted more. We get more people in here, and the more people that are in these live shows with me, the better the conversations. We have some great conversations in here. Let's see. Already getting comments about, bro, you jumped the gun on us, the ACC. No, I did not. I actually called my sources again because I saw where West Virginia announced what they announced today. West Virginia is basically saying what they need to say at the moment because of the tortious interference situation with ESPN. People forget ESPN, Disney, ABC, they're connected not only with the SEC, they're also connected with the ACC and the AAC, okay? So it's being said that instead of the conference contacting the teams, or the other way around, sorry, instead of the teams contacting the conference contacted the teams. That's a no-no. And so now West Virginia has to play really, really, really safe. Are you Greenville, South Carolina? Because if you're Greenville, South Carolina, I only live about 35 minutes from you. So you're pretty close, man. You're pretty close. Hey, by the way, if you live in the upstate of South Carolina, if you ever see a silver SUV or a silver van with my gold and blue dude bumper sticker, that's me. You're allowed to come up to me and say, hey, what's up, man? College football, whatever you want to talk about, I'm down. I'm not one of these nose in the air, stuck up YouTubers. No, I like talking. The more the merrier. So, yeah, just come up to me and say, hey, man, I've seen your show. I don't like it. I like it. Whatever. We'll talk. It's all good. So, yeah, and I actually just released a video just a few minutes ago because of the West Virginia thing whenever they came out and said, hey, we're staying in the Big 12. We're unified. We're going to try to expand all this other stuff. It's a smoke screen. This is a power move by ESPN, and every team has to play their part. And I think the biggest problem was Oklahoma and Texas jumped the gun. And West Virginia doesn't want to do that. They don't want to be in a bad limelight when it comes to the media. They're holding their peace. So, yes, I made sure that I 100% talked to my sources again today. Because I saw that, I was like, man, there hasn't been an announcement. Then they come out and say that, we're sticking it out, we're staying in the Big 12. I'm starting to get nervous. I mean, because I'm like you guys, I believe what I see. And I'm telling you, if these sources weren't as good as they are, West Virginia stay in the Big 12. I would be saying it. But I'm telling you right now, this is all a smokescreen. There's a lot of big-time politics going on right now. Big-time politics. And so, from what I've heard, the ACC they're like West Virginia, an unofficial invite is what they're calling it because they haven't actually voted on that stuff. That can't come out yet, okay? It just can't. Even if they have actually voted, that wouldn't be leaked to anybody. That could be bad for a lot of reasons. So, it's good on the ACC's part, and that's the biggest deal. Now, could West Virginia be stupid and say, actually, you know what? We like it here in the Big 12. We're not. I guess West Virginia could pull a stupid move and do that. But the biggest thing is, the ACC accepting us. So the tough part is over. The ACC is accepting West Virginia. So it's really on us. And we want to go. And all this stuff that you're hearing out there in new news media outlets, it has to be said. They're saying what they have to say. Okay? They're saying what they have to say. But yeah, phone lines are open. Y'all can call in anytime. Just remember, one line at a time. So if you hear somebody on the phone, I'm probably not going to answer your call if you're trying to call in because, only have one line. It is what it is. But here in the near future, like, this channel has blown up pretty big, guys. So I'll be able to have the money to invest in the soundboard, and that's what I need. I don't give the number out in the comments or over the air. What you got to do is you got to email me or Joey. They'll put up the email address. When you email that email address, tell them who you are and what number you're calling from. That way we know it's you. We had big time troll issues the first time I gave out the number live on the air, and it was awful. So that's how we help with the troll situation. Hey, speak of the devil, it's my good friend and sponsor, Joey. What is up, my friend?
Hey, man, what's going on?
Not much, man. I'm trying to calm down West Virginia fans because West Virginia did what they needed to. That's what people are not understanding. West Virginia did what they needed to do when they announced what they announced today. That was the right thing to say.
Yeah, it's not a big deal. I don't mind. I think here's how I look at it. The Big 12 will be fine. They'll bring in BYU, probably UCF, maybe two others. I don't think so. I think they'll just take two, but they might take four. And BYU will bring a big enough thing to get a television contract.
Well, let me ask you this.
Well as UCF.
Let me ask you this, okay? So, okay, you're saying the Big 12 is going to be all right. So, without Oklahoma, Texas, and West Virginia, the others I'm not sure about, okay? So, without those three, and they're not going to be allowed to pick off from the AAC. The AAC is the enemy. The AAC is affiliated with ESPN, who is trying to dissolve the Big 12. So they're not going to be able to get anybody from the AAC. That eliminates Cincinnati, UCF, Memphis, anybody over there. So basically, their biggest options are the MAC, Conference USA, Sun Belt, Mountain West, if I haven't already said it, and Independent. To me, the only names worth getting for the Big 12 would be Boise State and BYU. I mean, you have some good teams in the Sun Belt, like Louisiana and Coastal Carolina, maybe an Appalachian State, but those are not big names. Like, they're not money bringers. So, I don't think the Big 12 is going to be all right. I don't think they're going to remain a Power 5 conference. You lose your biggest two hitters, Oklahoma and Texas, and West Virginia is going to be gone, and you replace them with BYU, Boise State, and a couple of Sun Belt teams?
Right. Well, here's what I'm thinking. There's not going to be any expansion right now. The season's getting ready to start. There's not going to be any announcements, I don't believe, for expansion at all. I think everybody's going to wait until Texas and Oklahoma leave the Big 12 for good to the SEC. And at that point, teams are either going to scatter or they're going to start bringing in teams.
Right.
I think by that time, a lot of things will be settled and done as far as lawsuits and ESPN. And then you'll get your announcement for West Virginia to change conferences to the ACC.
Yeah.
I think that it's just going to be, it's just going to be prolonged for a year. Not a big deal. I don't think, and the thing about it is in that year, West Virginia could gain AAU status. So
that's true.
There could be even bigger, better things down the road. I'm not worried about that stuff at all. Hey, I did want to talk about one thing though.
Okay.
I want to talk about some football coming up this season. I'm really excited about this season, and I'll tell you why. I think it's the year that some of the elites, such as Alabama's and Clemson's, could possibly be left out of the playoffs. And here's my theory about that. Here's why I think that. I really think that Georgia is going to beat Clemson game one. I also think that Miami could possibly upset Alabama.
Oh.
Now, if that happens, I think Miami, their toughest game after that is North Carolina. They play at North Carolina in mid-October.
Yeah, that's true.
I think Miami could possibly win the ACC this year. If they don't, then North Carolina could. I think Clemson could get left out by 2 teams, North Carolina or Miami, either one.
Yeah, I'm kind of. If I were to leave 2 teams out, it would be Alabama and Ohio State. Alabama lost pretty much their entire offense from last year. So if there's a year where they're going to take a step back, it'll be this year. Now, when Alabama takes a step back, they still have a 10-win season. I'm not saying they're going to be terrible.
Yeah.
And Ohio State has a very green quarterback coming in, too.
Now, another thing, too, I think the Big 12 is pretty much solidified. I think it's Oklahoma's lose.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
And I think there's going to be some shakeup in Big 10. I really believe that Wisconsin
is
going to be the Big 10 champion this year.
And Penn State's going to have a big bounce back year as well.
Yep. I think this year, in the possibility, you have a Wisconsin and either a Miami or a North Carolina in the playoffs. Now, also, if you go over to the Pac-12, I think Utah's a team to watch out for there. I really believe that Utah could possibly win the Pac-12 and possibly be undefeated. Now, if, let's say Georgia loses to Clemson game 1, but then they go undefeated, they're probably going to get the bid to get into the playoffs. But if there's an undefeated Utah, it would be mighty hard to throw them in with a one-loss Georgia team. Now, just think it. So I think you're going to have an undefeated Wisconsin. I think you're going to have either an undefeated one-loss Georgia. If they have a loss, it's going to be to Clemson for game 1.
Now, here's the thing. If Georgia loses to Clemson and wins the SEC championship with a 1 loss, they're in. Like, that's not...
Oh, yeah.
That's not even a debate.
No doubt.
They're in.
Right. But now, if you have an undefeated Pac-12 team, I think they would have a legitimate argument. But I think that this could be a year for some shake-up. There could possibly be a couple of losses inside these conferences to where Miami could beat Alabama, but then lose to North Carolina, who could in turn lose to somebody, and then we end up with a Cincinnati or somebody in the playoffs. Now, I don't think that's going to happen. I think it would take 2 loss teams to put a Cincinnati in. I think everybody would have to have 2 losses.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I just think there's going to be some new teams, some new faces in the playoffs this year, and I'm really excited about this year. I'm
me
glad
too.
to see that happening.
Yeah, I am too.
So, all right, man. Well, I'll let you get on to some other phone calls and stuff. And, everything will be good in the Big 12. Like I say, just 1 year out. I think more announcements will come at the end of the year.
Oh, yeah.
Or, before next year for sure. So.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing that whenever I talk to my sources, they said, now the timing could be 1 month to 3 months. He was very specific with that, 1 month to 3 months. So that's going to be, now that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying what he said. So I'm going to be on my toes between October and December. I'm really going to keep my eyes out for that.
All right, man. Well, all right. Well, I guess I'll get off here and let some other people call in.
Okay.
And if anybody wants to call in, they can email footballnewshour@gmail.com.
Make sure to put that in the comments, too. Make sure to put that in the comments.
Yeah, Wisconsin fans putting it in there for us.
Okay.
All right, man.
All right, have a good one, bud.
See you later.
We'll see you, bud. Joey always has a good phone call when he calls in. There was a few things that I disagreed on. I think the Big 12's all right this year, of course, because Oklahoma and Texas are still in this year. But after this year, there's a real chance that they're done as a Power 5. I expect, I don't know the exact timing, I expect West Virginia to make their announcement they're going to ACC maybe by the end of this football season. We'll see how that goes. So they'll be without Oklahoma, without Texas, without West Virginia. And the AAC, teams in the AAC are off the menu. They cannot choose from the AAC. Here's why. The AAC has a media rights deal with ESPN. ESPN enemies with Fox. Fox is the one that has the media deals with the Big 12. So ESPN will not let that happen. If they got to throw more money at them, they'll throw more money at them. So the menu for the Big 12 to add teams is very, very limited. You have Conference USA, Marshall, that wouldn't do anything. Western Kentucky, I know I have a Western Kentucky fan in here, and he's diehard, but I'm sorry, bud, it wouldn't do much for the Big 12. Conference USA, I mean, UAB's doing well, but they wouldn't do much for the Big 12. On over to the MAC, there's not even any teams in the MAC that you could even say, like, even jokingly. So, moving on. The Sun Belt, I know you have Louisiana, Coastal Carolina, Appalachian State that are having good seasons right now, but they're not going to make you any money. They're not big names. So really the menu for the Big 12, if they want to add on, is going to be BYU and Boise State out of the Mountain West. Maybe a San Diego State or a San Jose State. So it's basically the Mountain West and BYU. That's all the Big 12 is going to have to choose from. So, no, I do not think that the Big 12 is going to survive much longer. They might stay together as a conference, but they're done as a Power 5. Absolutely done. It's not going to last much longer. Their Power 5 status will be taken away. And all of this is because of ESPN. I think this is Wisconsin fan. Hey, you're on with Golden Blue, dude.
Hi, this is Wisconsin sports fan.
What's up, bud?
Nothing much. I just wanted to call in and talk some conference realignment.
Okay, man. I'm always down.
What?
I'm always down for that.
Okay. By the way, if I go out, it'll probably be because we're having bad storms around here.
Okay. Stay safe, bud.
Yeah. But I think that the Big 12 they could go under. But is it possible for Baylor to go to the Pac-12?
I mean, anything's possible, but I don't think that they're a Tier 1 research facility. I could be mistaken. I know it's far more likely for Texas Tech, Oklahoma State, and Kansas State. If the Pac-12 were to expand, and I know they've come out and said that they're not going to, which is stupid. Did you not learn your lesson from the Big 12? Look at what they're going through. Why would you... Anyways, besides that, the teams that they would go after in the Big 12 would be either Texas, Kansas State, or Oklahoma State, or a combination of two of those three. Baylor, I'd have to really look into Baylor. I don't. The Pac-12 is not big on religious schools either, so Baylor has some things working against them as far as getting to the Pac-12. So I would have to say a no, but like I said, anything's possible.
So I saw your video talking about Notre Dame's chances of going to different conferences, and I don't think that this is going to happen, but I have a theory.
Okay.
I think that this is, as you said, anything is possible. So Kansas State, Texas Tech, Oklahoma State, and Notre Dame to the Pac-12. What do you think about that?
Run that by me one more time.
So you'd have the three schools you talked about: Kansas State, Oklahoma State, Texas Tech, as well as Notre Dame, because of their rivalry with USC to the Pac-12.
To the Pac-12. Well, did you put Notre Dame in there?
Yeah.
Okay, so the problem with Notre Dame is they can't join a conference other than the ACC until after
That's
2036. That doesn't mean that they're going to join the ACC. It just means they can't join any other conference until after that deal is over. Hold on real quick. Thank you to Ray Finkel. He just became a Blue member patron, which means he gets one guess per week on my Gold and Blue Dude score prediction contest for a chance to win $20 every single week. And if I get enough patrons, that'll be bumped up to 50. So you're contributing to possibly making that prize money go higher. So whenever you want to, Ray Finkel, email me your score prediction for the Georgia-Clemson game. Sorry about that.
No, you're good. Yeah, so I think that also, I think I commented this on your video earlier. I saw the end of ESPN video. I think ESPN's going to take over college football because I think that they'll grab the Big Ten and Pac-12 rights, and in total, between the conference conference networks and then ABC and the ESPN networks, that's 27 time slots on Saturdays.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see it happening. It's the only thing that could stand in the way of ESPN is ESPN. They could get in too much of a hurry where they make some mistakes and do some things that they shouldn't do. Ergo, the what's it called, the interference thing that's going on right now, where they said that they contacted Oklahoma and Texas. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's the big thing going around right now. So as long as they don't trip over themselves, yeah, they could absolutely take over college football.
Yeah. The other thing, I know we were talking about a Super League. Is that still on the table?
Oh yeah. I think eventually you could be looking at the ACC and the SEC and maybe a few teams out of the AAC come together, form a league, and then the Big Ten and the Pac-12 come together and possibly take some teams out of the Pac-12. I think that's a possibility. Now, I think that would be on farther down the road if that happened, but it is a possibility. Also, thank you to Ryan McCauley. He just became a Blue member, so he also gets one score prediction guess per week for a chance to win $20 a week for now. Now, I'm going to go back and look and see how many Patreons I have. I might be able to bump that up to $50 a week. The great thing about my contest is you can win more than once. So, even if you win the very first score prediction, which is Georgia-Clemson, you could still win more money. You could win a lot of money. But as far as the Super League thing goes, I think it's a real possibility, but we might be at least 5 years away from that, possibly longer.
Okay, yeah, I was talking to... I was on a chat last weekend, actually, with American Football Network and a friend of his, and we were talking about conference realignment. And one of the things that his friend, who's a Notre Dame fan, said is that Notre Dame will not join a conference unless they are absolutely forced to. What do you think about that?
100% agree. I think they've proven that over the years. The interesting thing for me was... They're one of the administrators that approved this new 12-team expansion for the playoffs. And we all know that one of the stipulations is only the top 4 conference champions get that bye week. And I do think that would be a big deal for Notre Dame, so they would have to join a conference and win that conference to get that bye. Of course, Notre Dame is always going to get the benefit of the doubt, and they're going to get in more times than not because of their brand if they have at least 10 wins, I'm going to say it. And it also tells me that maybe they knew that the Big 12 was going to go under longer than we realize, because if the Big 12 is out, then that just leaves 4 power conferences, and that means no power conference champion will miss out on a bye week. So basically, if the Big 12 goes under and the AAC is not promoted to a Power 5, then if you are in a Power 4 conference and you win that conference, you're getting a bye. Bottom line.
Yeah.
So a lot of pieces are coming together that are making sense.
Yeah, they do. It does make a lot of sense. How long are your sources telling you how long West Virginia has been in talks with the ACC, and could that relate to Notre Dame at all with the playoff stuff? You know,
I have tried to get that out of my sources, and they won't give me that. They haven't said if they don't know. They just said we can't comment on that. That's exactly what they've said. So I don't know if they just don't know, or if they know and they don't want to tell me, or they're not supposed to tell me. I don't know. So as far as the timing goes, we have no idea. But for Notre Dame, the bottom line for Notre Dame is if they're going to join a conference between 2036, it has to be the ACC. And here's the thing. Here's another thing that people are missing. Okay, so what people think is that if the ACC brings in West Virginia, they have to bring in somebody else because it would make it lopsided. Well, technically, yes, as far as a full-time member, but they don't have to. In fact, what they could do is they could bring in West Virginia and kind of keep a seat warm for Notre Dame because they're locked in until 2036, can't join another conference, and that makes sense to me. So it doesn't have to be, well, you have to bring in this team if West Virginia's coming in as well. No, it doesn't have to be that well either. And thank you to Jeremiah Powell for the $4.99 super chat. He says, what do you think of Texas' new staff with, hold on, it went away, Pete Kowalski and Sarkisian? I think people are sleeping on Texas and the third quarterback of 2020 behind Young. You know, I like the staff. I really do. But I think as far as this year, I think they're a year behind. They're a year from being elite. I think next year they could definitely be elite if Bijan Robinson is still there. They're going to have a great running game, but they're going to have a turnover on quarterback. Ellinger's gone. He started for like 20 years, or it seems like. So they're going to be breaking in a new quarterback. That matters. I promise you that matters. And I'm not trash talking Texas. I'm just saying it matters, new quarterback. But I know Texas recruits high. Next year, I think Texas has the chance to be elite. Now, whether they're in the SEC or not, I have no idea.
Yeah. Also, I see Penn State fan in here saying Penn State 35, Wisconsin 23. You could easily be right because Wisconsin has an unproven quarterback in Graham. His only flash of talent was against Illinois, and the rest of the season he had COVID, and then he just kind of fell off. Yeah. So I don't have much confidence in Graham, but I think the big test for Wisconsin won't be Penn State.
Yeah, it is at home, though. It is at home, so that's good.
That's true. Yeah, I don't have Wisconsin losing a game at home.
No.
But I have them losing in Chicago against Notre Dame.
No, I actually have them beating Notre Dame.
Jack Cohn is former Wisconsin quarterback. I think that's going to be their big test.
Yeah, I agree. I think they'll be fine.
Yeah. So, other than West Virginia, I know you've mentioned some sort of teams. What else are your sources telling you when it comes to other teams running conferences?
Well, they're not really sure about the Big Ten, but they think that Kansas and Iowa State are still going to the Big Ten. The Pac-12 is the big unknown. But everybody's leaning towards Kansas State and Oklahoma State, so that's what we're looking at. Now, Baylor, TCU, and Texas Tech probably would go to the AAC if I had to guess.
Oh, okay. I think if there's a Super League, though, the commissioner or whatever is going to demand 16 teams in each.
Yeah, that's very possible. Thank you, Livewire Sports and Entertainment, for your $4.99 super chat. I appreciate your support, man. Good supporter, good subscriber right there. I appreciate that.
Yeah. By the way, if Jeff Webster is in here, please call in. I want your Iowa State update.
Oh yeah. If he's in, he'll call in.
Yeah, but I think my last thing is, so if there is a Super League with essentially, think of it like the NFL or the MLB if you had 4 conferences.
Right.
Where it's
almost like the AFC, NFC, yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking more even MLB or NBA where you have it more like divisions. So, like, think of the conferences like divisions or regions, and then, like, have one commissioner. I think that's how it would probably be set up, which I think means that you could shift teams around.
That makes sense.
And make it more rivalry-based, geographic kind of based, because it really wouldn't matter.
Yeah.
Since they would have equal power. So, this isn't the most popular idea, I don't think. But with the way you would have to shift it, I think I came up with adding Penn State, Rutgers, and I think maybe even Maryland. I'm trying to remember for sure. To the ACC, along with, of course, West Virginia. And then, since that would have you, since you would be over there, that would get you to what? 18? You'd have to cut 2 teams. And the way it would have to be set up geographically, you would add I think you would have to add Miami and Florida State to the SEC, or the Southern.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Which I think would be great. Think about, Florida State, Florida, Miami, Florida, and then also you go right to the Penn State, West Virginia, Maryland, Rutgers, Penn State, Rutgers. There's all these great matchups that you bring in.
Yeah, that's a good take right there. So you basically have the conferences, but within the conferences, the divisions, and then you could set that up like the playoffs, like you have in the NFL. You'd have your wild card, and since they passed the NIL, this is basically turning into NFL Junior. But I think the games are still going to be college atmosphere and stuff. It's just going to be set up like the NFL. So yeah, I'm good with
personally,
that.
I don't like 2. I think 4 is more realistic. Because I feel like putting it in 2.
Hold on one
That
second.
would be a lot more shifting and a big divide.
Hold on one second.
But, I'll let someone else call in. I know that there are a lot of people trying to get in, so I'll let you go.
All right, that's a good take. Good job, bud.
No problem. See you.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I thought you said bye. My bad. Thank you, Andre King, for your $5 super chat. Every little bit helps. Great supporter right there. Jeff Grimm. Roll Tide. Okay, hold on. Roll Tide. Let's bring West Virginia and Oklahoma State to the SEC. It's not a bad concept. Not a bad... The only thing that I would think would not allow that to happen is I don't think West Virginia brings enough value to the SEC. I think West Virginia brings a ton of value to the ACC, but not really all that much value to the SEC. They don't really have any rivalries. I'm sure they would develop some good rivalries with like a Kentucky, a South Carolina, Tennessee, Vanderbilt. They would develop those. That would be great. But as far as the right here, right now, the value for West Virginia is in the ACC. And that's why ESPN, who's the puppet master, decided, hey, it's the ACC that needs to go after West Virginia, not the SEC. They're a better fit than in the SEC. ESPN has 3 conferences that they have media rights deal. I know I've said it many times. It's SEC, ACC, AAC. So it's like, ESPN is overseeing this whole thing. All right, so they're like the puppet master, and their goal is, all right, we want the Big 12 done. All right, so we have these 3 conferences. The big boys, Oklahoma and Texas, we'll pull them into the SEC. All right, that's done. West Virginia, not a good fit for the SEC. We'll bring them into the ACC, okay? And then probably either 2 or 4 of the remaining teams, we'll say Texas Tech, Baylor, TCU, and maybe Oklahoma State. We'll put them in the AAC, and boom, the Big 12's done. Nobody's going to join a conference that's got like 2 or 3 teams left, even if you try to rebuild it. And at the same time, possibly elevate the AAC into Power 5 status, and boom, you knock 2 birds out with 1 stone. Big 12 dissolves, AAC elevated to a Power 5 conference, and ESPN has media right deals with 3 of the 5 power conferences. The more I think about it, man, this has been going on longer than we all realize. If you really sit down and think about it, the curtain is just now starting to be opened, and whenever the dust settles, we're going to be like, wow. But if you've been watching my show, you won't be as surprised. You'll be like, well, we kind of saw this coming because we've been talking about this for a while. It'll still have the shock value because it'll be something new and, oh, they went where? But if you're keeping up here on Golden Blue Dude, you're going to be like, well, kind of expected that. We didn't know who was going to go where, but we knew something like this was coming up. So, Ray Finkelsaus, thank you for the $9.99 super chat. He says UAB up 17-0 in the third. I believe they're playing Jacksonville State. That's, kind of saw that one coming. And I do think UAB is going to win. Hold on. I don't want to get this wrong. I think it's Conference USA. Is it South or... I had it written down, but I forgot. Oh, here we go. I do have it written down. I'm not looking at the comments. Don't give it away. I'm going to look at my notes. Conference USA... West Division. Ha! Got it. Yes, I do think UAB will win the Conference USA West Division. They are a good team. I think, honestly think UAB has the chance of going, having a 10-win season and winning Conference USA. It could be UAB and Marshall, and if that's the scenario, I hope UAB blasts them, like beats them by like 3 touchdowns. Because no, I know Marshall's in the state of West Virginia, but they're like one county. There's like one county in the southwestern part of the state that's green. The rest of the state, blue and gold. And they are not a rival, guys. Not a rival. We've played them 12 times, and we are 12-0. They blew it in 2011? They blew it in 2011. No, 2010. They blew it in 2010. That was their best chance. We came to Huntington. We were down by 16 points with 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter. They were on our 8-yard line, and if they would have kicked a field goal right then and there, it would have been a 3-score game with probably about 7, maybe 6.5 minutes left. Probably not. A comeback's probably not going to happen, especially as bad as we were doing. We only had scored like 1 touchdown by then. We were doing terrible. They fumbled the ball on our 8-yard line. 8 yards away from a touchdown. They fumbled the ball. West Virginia figured out how to score a touchdown. So then we were only down by 8 points. We stopped in, get the ball back with about 1.5 minutes left, score a touchdown, 2-point conversion, because we needed that with 12 seconds left. We also needed that. Sent it to overtime. We had to settle for a field goal. So I was like, oh, crap. We did all this work, and all they have to do is score a touchdown. We stopped them. They lined up for a field goal. Wide right. So, yes, Ray Finkel's 2 fumbles because that first touchdown pass that they caught, he dropped it. If you go back and watch yes, I'm still mad about it. If you go back and watch the 2010 West Virginia Marshall game, that first touchdown pass that Marshall threw, whenever they start to celebrate and they drop the ball behind them before they cross the plane, that happened. So that first touchdown that Marshall scored shouldn't have even counted. That was a fumble. That's a good call right there. Good memory. I like it. Let's see. Thank you, Texas T. Hold on. Let me make sure I read this right. Is it T-SIP? Texas T-SIP Central for the $10 super chat. He says, if Lincoln Riley farted in a plaster Walmart sack, OU fans would be falling over themselves to purchase it so they could wear it like a feed bag. I can't totally disagree with that. I cannot totally disagree with that. Hey, you're on with Golden Blue Dude. Hey, make sure to turn your, whatever you're watching me on, turn that down so we don't get the feedback on it. You're good now.
All right, there you go.
I hear you.
Hey, roll tide.
I hear you. Yeah, I don't think they're going to get the playoffs this year, but if they do, would that be a big surprise? Of course not. They're Alabama.
Do me a favor. Don't bet on Jimbo Fisher. Saban ain't going to lose to an assistant.
You know what? I'm really torn between that. I think, man, especially since I was okay with it before today, but whenever Texas A&M extended Jimbo Fisher, and he's going to make $9 million a year, second highest paid coach, that's stupid. The dude hasn't done anything. And you don't count what he did at Florida State because this is Texas A&M. So, yes, he won a national championship at Florida State with Jameis Winston. But what has he done at Texas A&M to surpass Dabo Swinney, Ed Orgeron? Both of those two guys have national championship at their current institutions. Sorry, man. I had to let that out. You're paying him for Florida State. You're not paying him for anything he's done at Texas A&M. Good statement. Good statement. And I had a Texas A&M fan comment on that video, and they're like, how dare you say that? This is an investment. I'm like, an investment? So y'all are thinking that you're going to win a national championship. You're basically paying him $9 million, thinking in the future you're going to win a national championship with him. That's what it sounds like. There's nothing been proven. He hasn't done it. Like, that kind of contract is a reward type of contract, not a investment contract. Stupid.
Right, and if you look at Saban's assistants, a lot of them are like Bear Bryant assistants, if you think about it.
Oh.
Saban was a defensive coach. We won 2 national championships. We did great. And then Saban realized that defense was not just winning national championships. We needed offense.
Yep.
So he changed his game plan. Still got a defense, don't get me wrong. But now we put up points, just like Bear Bryant had the run game. And then in the 70s, when he got stopped by USC, he ran into the wishbone and started winning again. And I think Jimbo Fisher, Kirby Smart has the defense down pat, and they're solid teams. They just haven't caught up on the offensive side of the ball. So if an assistant is going to beat Saban, it's going to be a Lane Kiffin or Steve Sarkisian, who's an offensive-minded genius.
That's not a bad take right there. I like it. And you're 100% correct. And this is not trash talking Nick Saban, but before he decided to take on, the offensive mind air raid type of thing, which I'm not saying they run an air raid type offense. They don't, but he's more willing to throw the ball. Before that time, he didn't like it. He said, it exposes your quarterback to too much pressure. Your quarterback could get injured more, so he was against it. But when he realized that he couldn't fight it, he made the decision, and he did adapt. And that's what great coaches do. And Nick Saban, in my opinion, is the all-time greatest. I know it's arguable. I know it's debatable. In my opinion, the dude is the greatest college football coach of all time.
But if you look at Nick Saban, though, he badmouthed that kind of offense. He told
That's
people,
what I was saying. Yeah, I agree.
Auburn was doing it, and other people were doing it, and it's not good for the sport. But since they didn't want to change the rules, he adapted.
Yep.
Just like Nick Saban tried to tell people, this transfer portal is not a good thing. You think it's going to hurt me. It's not. I'm just going to get better players who only have 1 or 2 years left, and they won a championship. So they're going to leave their school and come to me. And that's what's happening now. We just picked up a guy from Ohio State, and we got that Tutu from Tennessee. I mean, the rich get richer.
I don't understand how people thought that was going to hurt Saban because, okay, Alabama recruits at an extremely high level, right? So even if players that transfer are high caliber, his whole team is filled with high caliber, and the guys that are transferring are your second and third strings that are going to get hardly any play time. So, no, it doesn't hurt him. And then that opens up vacancies to other players who are on teams that will never win a national championship. They're like, oh, I'm a high caliber player on a bad team. I'm transferring over to Alabama so I can get a national championship.
Exactly. And that's what you're seeing happen right now.
Yes, exactly. Prime example was that Tutu guy coming from Tennessee.
And just to touch a little bit on realignment, the reason I say West Virginia and Oklahoma State for the SEC is I think the SEC should go to 24 teams, be the first super conference. We pull in Clemson and Florida State. We also pull in Penn State and Notre Dame. I know Notre Dame don't like a conference, but it'd be hard to give up that kind of money. And then we just become the first super conference because let's be honest, ACC, the biggest teams who went to the ACC, none of them have really shined. The only team that's really shining right now is Clemson. Florida State's even been down since Jimbo Fisher left. So let's just move to the SEC and have one super conference.
Well, here's the thing. I agree with that 100%, but I think there's steps to this, okay? So, like I said earlier, ESPN has media rights not only with SEC, but also the ACC and the AAC. So what they could do is, since they have 3 different brands, they can, I'm going to use air quotes here, recruit on 3 different levels. So your higher caliber Big 12 teams will go to the SEC. Mid-level, which is West Virginia, will go to the ACC. And then your lower level will go to the AAC. Now, down the road, when those brands get better, then they can realign within themselves. So, if West Virginia is doing really, really good with the ACC, they'll be like, all right, well, we're going to pull West Virginia, Clemson, Florida State, North Carolina, Miami, and whoever from the ACC to the SEC, and then we'll move some teams from the AAC to the ACC. So it's almost like a promotion within itself.
Right.
So it's almost like one step at a time. Instead of bringing in West Virginia right now, you bring them to the ACC, increase their value a little bit more, and then down the road, since you have media rights to all of those conferences, then you can pull them over to the SEC. I think in the future, these conferences, as far as who's under the ESPN branch, will be interchangeable as far as where they want to put teams. You know what I'm saying?
Right. But one thing to think about also is, I know this is a football show, but let's talk basketball 1 second. If
Yeah.
you move West Virginia into the SEC, if Alabama can win a regular season and a tournament title in the SEC, how good would West Virginia be in the SEC basketball?
That's one thing that people forget about is West Virginia, and I've said it many, many times, West Virginia is only one of 3 teams that's top 20 all-time in total wins in football and basketball. It's Texas, Notre Dame, and West Virginia. So they absolutely bring value in basketball as well.
See, and what a lot of people don't realize is in the SEC, Alabama is the number 2 all-time basketball team in the SEC. We're just so far behind Kentucky. It's pathetic.
Kentucky's just they're a thoroughbred running with greyhounds as far as basketball goes.
Yeah, we got Kentucky for basketball, and we got Vandy for grade point average.
There you go.
Only 2 reasons those 2 teams are in.
Everybody has a purpose, though, you know?
Yeah, because everybody asks, why do we keep Vandy? Well, we need good lawyers someday. That's the only reason for Vandy.
And see, that's one of the things that people keep bringing up as far as the argument for West Virginia to not be in the ACC. They're like, their academics don't meet the standards. Our president, West Virginia University's president, Gordon Gee, is a very smart man. He had a meeting with Jim Phillips and explained why our academics, the score is the way it is. We don't send our lower academics to affiliated branches to keep our score up. So what they did is they figured out the score, taking that into consideration, and West Virginia does meet ACC academic requirements. So that argument is over with. That's not an argument at all. Right now, we're working on the timing. That's the only thing that's keeping West Virginia from announcing.
Right, and I get tired of hearing people talk about academics, because if academics mattered, then then ESPN would be paying Harvard, Princeton, and that. They're paying the SEC, which I'm a big SEC fan, but let's be honest, the SEC is not known for our brain.
Hey, we got somebody watching from Germany.
Pays us for football.
We got somebody watching from Germany. Real quick, what time is it in Germany? I don't have my, I can't figure it up in my head real quick, and I don't have the map. So whoever's from Germany that you just posted, Fabian Ronch, what time is it over there in Germany? I'm just curious.
Germany should be 7 hours ahead.
7 hours ahead. I don't know what time it is because I don't have a clock in front of me. I'm guessing it's like 10 o'clock.
It's 3:56 right now.
3? Wow, 4 a.m. in the morning and you're watching Golden Blue, dude. You're an awesome person right there. You are an awesome person. I appreciate that.
Now think about this, Bloom. Yeah, you got a guy in Germany, you got me in Mexico City. You're now completely international.
That's right. That's right. I didn't even think about that. I don't get scared seeing that Mexico City. I don't get scared seeing that Mexico City number pop up anymore. I know who it is now, so we're good.
I just tell everybody I'm down here hiding from the police.
Hey, do what you got to do, man. I don't know what you did. I don't want to know. You do you.
I'll let you go so other callers can call, and I'll call back in maybe Saturday if I'm around.
Okay, and that'll be a great time to call in because we'll have a lot of either very joyful or very angry fan bases depending on how week 1 went.
And just so you know, tomorrow Minnesota wins 31-24 over Ohio State. They're too worried about Oregon.
You know, I like that, and I did take Minnesota in the 14. I didn't pick the upset straight up on the money line, but it wouldn't surprise me. It really wouldn't. People forgetting that Tanner Morgan's a really good quarterback, and Ohio State's breaking in a very green quarterback on the road, and Minnesota's they're gonna be a bowl team, 8-4 probably. Good take right there.
Yeah, I think Minnesota's going to upset a few teams this year. I really do. But I think Ohio State is too worried about Oregon in week 2, thinking Minnesota's not that great of a team. And, when you start a new quarterback, like Alabama's starting a new quarterback against Miami, I think it's going to be close in the first half because you're running a brand new freshman quarterback.
Yeah. I agree with that. I think, you know what? I think Alabama controls the game, but at the end of the game, the score will make it seem closer. Like, if you watch the entire game, you'll know that Alabama was in control. But if you're somebody that didn't watch the game and you've seen the final score, it's like, I don't know, I'm going to say like 38-30 or 38-28. You're like, man, Miami really gave them a fight. I think it's going to be that type of game. The score will be deceiving.
I can see it happening. I really can. I mean, with Bryce Young, his first start, I think we're going to start out a little tentative. I think we're going to run the ball a little bit more than we're going to the rest of the season. And I think we're just going to have to get some passes under his belt.
Yeah, I think, and Nick Saban's a great coach, so I think he'll have him throwing some screens, some under crossing routes, some hitch routes, just to, get the arm motion going and get the butterflies out of those belly.
Oh, I agree 100%.
Yeah. He'll be all right, though.
All right, well, you have a great night, and I will talk to you on Saturday.
All right, man, I look forward to it. Have a good one.
All right, bye.
Bye. That was a pretty good call as well. I agree with, pretty much everything. The Alabama-Miami game, that's going to be, it's going to be a really, really interesting game. Like I said during the call, Alabama will control the game, but the score will be deceiving at the end.
Interesting game.
You're almost going to Bluetooth.
Alabama will control the game, but
Hey, turn.
Okay, I have the broadcast running in the background. It's a few seconds behind.
Yeah, turn it down or step away real quick.
Yeah, I'll just pause it. I want to talk a little bit of Sun Belt action really quick.
I'm down with that. Go ahead.
As I'm a Clemson and Appalachian State fan, and I was going to go to the App State game in Charlotte tomorrow, but I had a couple things come up and decided not to go.
Hey, are tickets still available for that thing? That would be cool to go to, actually.
I think so, because one of my coaches is going.
Yeah, that's East Carolina at Appalachian State, right?
Yeah, it's in Charlotte.
Okay, cool.
It's like he's getting, because we have football walkthroughs tomorrow, and then I have to, go to music class, because I take, guitar lessons. So I go to there, which is in Uptown, so I have to, drive across town to go to that, and then, just see Bank of America Stadium off in the distance the whole time.
Well, I actually went to the 2013 ACC Championship game, which is in Bank of America. That's when Florida State absolutely throttled Duke. And I was in the Florida State section. I was wearing my West Virginia gear, but everybody, every Florida State fan knows that Bobby Bowden, rest in peace, was a former coach of West Virginia. So I was very warm welcomed, even though I was wearing West Virginia gear, into their fan section, and it was a great time, great experience.
But I do kind of want to touch on that. I don't know.
What do you think about the Sun Belt?
I think Coastal's 2020 year was a fluke. I think it was a fluke straight up. I think they're better than they were. I think they'll still be a bowl team.
Yeah.
But I think App State easily wins the East this year.
Okay.
I do see them losing to Miami and possibly Louisiana during the regular season.
Do you know where that game is off the top of your head, the Appalachian State Coastal Carolina game?
Boone on a Wednesday.
Okay. Yeah, I could see Appalachian State winning that. I actually agree with you. Here are the teams that I think benefited from a shrunken schedule and maybe looked better than what they actually were. Number 1, Coastal Carolina. Indiana. Louisiana. Teams like that benefited from the shrunken schedule because they don't have a lot of depth. And whenever you have a shrunken schedule, it doesn't matter as much. Now, this year is really going to tell the tale because they're going to have a full schedule with the same depth that they had last year. So I think Coastal Carolina is going to get to 9 wins, but they're not going to be a one-loss team like they were last year.
I agree.
And I do think Appalachian State has a chance to win that division. It's still a toss-up in my head. But that game being in Boone, that could very well decide and give it to Appalachian State.
Yeah.
What do you think about the East Carolina game? I'm kind of surprised that Appalachian State is only favored by 10.5. Whenever I gave out my spread picks, I was like, to me, that's easy money. I'd take App State and lay the 10.5. I think they'll absolutely throttle East Carolina.
I remember I said on the group chat, App State by 30.
Yeah. I mean, that would not surprise me. I would say App State by 21, but 10.5? That's ridiculous.
Because I have some family who went to ECU, so they're going to that game.
Yeah, I mean,
also,
if you're talking about East Carolina back in the Skip Holtz day, whenever they played West Virginia, and I think they beat us a couple times in Greenville, North Carolina. But this East Carolina team, bottom of the barrel in the AAC.
Horrible.
They're bad. I think them being in the AAC is probably what kind of tripped Vegas up on that one.
Yeah. I think that'll be an App by 20 game. I'll probably come home to watch that game.
So
or just stay in Uptown, try to sneak into that one. Just kidding.
So does App State, do y'all get a cross-division game against Louisiana?
Yes, we do. I think it's yearly.
Ooh.
It's in Louisiana this year.
That's going to be a tough one. So, in
Because
order to win this...
year, we were up in Gatlinburg, and I was watching it.
Yeah.
Actually, no, we were...
So, in order to win the Sun Belt, y'all are going to have to beat Louisiana twice.
Yeah.
That's a tall order, my friend. I actually have Louisiana winning the Sun Belt, but I think it'll be Louisiana and Appalachian State in a rematch. But the same goes for Louisiana. They might have to beat y'all twice, too. So, we'll have to see.
I think it kind of goes how Clemson Notre Dame went this year. Whoever's the winner of the regular season matchup will probably get throttled. I wouldn't say throttled, because looking back on that game when I was watching it, being a Clemson fan, I thought we were killing Notre Dame. But when I rewatched it a month ago, I noticed we didn't have a convincing lead until late in the second quarter.
Yeah, exactly. And the game in Notre Dame, you were missing Trevor Lawrence, and you were missing your most important players on defense, and you didn't run the ball as well as you usually did. I don't know what was up with the offensive line. So it was a weird game, and y'all were still in it till the end. And I think this year, here's the thing, and I was talking about this with somebody yesterday. I think since Deshaun Watson, Clemson has upgraded in quarterback every single recruiting cycle. I think Trevor Lawrence was an upgrade from Deshaun Watson, and I think DJ Uiagalelei is actually an upgrade from Trevor Lawrence. He could become Clemson's first Heisman Trophy winner. I'm telling you, upgrade from Trevor Lawrence.
I kind of have to agree with you there.
The dude can sling the ball, and he's a little bit more mobile than Trevor Lawrence. He could very well win the Heisman first time ever for Clemson, for sure.
Yeah, because I remember that guy in the same group chat, he was acting like Clemson got blew out when they lost to Notre Dame in that game.
No, y'all had a chance to actually win it. And I think you got it picked off or something, or they just stopped you. I'm not sure.
We punted when we shouldn't have punted. It was
I remember that because I was like,
punted the ball away. We could have just ran it up the middle. Could have just checked down or ran it up the middle and just run the clock out from there at the end of regulation. But no, we had to punt.
That reminded me of the call that Kirby Smart made. No, it wasn't Kirby Smart. Who am I thinking of? Anyways, the team was playing Alabama. And they had it was Mark Richt at Georgia, and they ran the ball, and I think he had a timeout, and he didn't call the timeout. It was something like that. So I remember that. Notre Dame, they didn't control the game, and they barely won the game, and it was against a beaten up Clemson team, and the rematch was in the playoffs, and they got embarrassed. So I don't think Notre Dame belonged in the playoffs. They never do, really, if you think about it.
Yeah. Because the 2 times they've got in twice, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's it.
31-0, and then what was it, 40-20?
Yeah, I
40
think it was.
something.
They ended up kind of making it look close, but yeah, it was still a blowout. I think it was
Yeah.
31-14, I think.
31.
Yep.
Somewhere in that neck of the woods, because my friend Cameron, who
It was
also trying to get
convincing.
to-
How about that? It was convincing.
Yeah. Trying to call in also. He's a big Ohio State guy, so we luckily met after the Ohio State Clemson game because there would have been a lot of tribalism for like a month there.
Crypt Keeper says, Golden Blue Dude, are you going to burn, I think you meant to say burn, your couch if the mount and ears when they're opener? Mount and ears. That's it's the first time I've seen somebody say it that way. Maryland, nah, they're not worth burning for. Texas. When we beat Texas, I might do a couch burning video, so y'all keep your eyes out for that one. That'll be a good one.
Hey, speaking of, because I wholeheartedly believe West Virginia is going to the ACC. It makes sense.
Oh, they are.
Geographically.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, I think they will put them in the Atlantic to kind of balance out Clemson. Unless Florida State just like rapidly rises this year, which I don't think they will. They're getting better, but they aren't at the point where they can actually challenge Clemson. The only teams that can actually challenge Clemson in the ACC are North Carolina and Miami, and I will stand by that statement.
That's fair. I agree with that. I would prefer West Virginia going to the Coastal because you have Virginia Tech, you have Pitt, you have Miami, 3 really good rivals of West Virginia, and it's definitely a more winnable division than the other. But, if they put them in the Atlantic, that's fine as well. I'm sure we would get some cross-divisional with Virginia Tech and Pitt. Now, if they put West Virginia in the Atlantic, I really hope that they make that our cross-division games permanent, like Pitt, Virginia Tech, every year. Kind of like Clemson, Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Remember, I don't know why, just this weird pattern every 2 years or so when Clemson plays Georgia Tech, it just rains. Like horrible.
Yeah, that's true.
I remember
I remember that.
2015, it was pouring. It sucked. I remember I was at that game and I got like watered down Dippin' Dots. It was weird. It was like 45 degrees in like mid-September.
Yeah, deep south weather in the fall is unpredictable. Sometimes we'll have freaking tornadoes in the fall, and then sometimes it's freaking cold. Monsoons. You just never know what you're going to get in the fall in South Carolina.
Earlier today it was sunny and fair. Then more of a Ida came in Charlotte, and it started raining a little bit towards the end of practice. Because we were like trying to battle the hurricane time-wise, so we started practice at like 3 o'clock. But like we had our weight room, because we usually like start our weight room at like 2:30, and then start practice at like 4 o'clock.
Yeah. Did it get rained out?
They were making sure it didn't get rained out.
Okay, I got
So
you.
we went to the weight room about like 5 o'clock. We only had a 30-minute weight room session.
Okay, I got you. Makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, man. I'm gonna let you go. See if somebody else wants to call. But that was a good call, man. Good job, man.
Yeah.
Call in on Saturday if you can.
Yeah, I'll probably be able to call on Saturday because I'm trying to go to College Game Day, but hopefully will.
Okay. That's a good plan. Hold up a Golden Blue Dude sign if you're there.
Yes, I will make
There you
one.
go. That's what I'm talking about. Golden Blue Dude sign on College Game Day. Yes.
Yeah, you'll sound like just having me all decked out in like Clemson gear, just holding up a West Virginia.
Well, you don't have to put anything West Virginia, just like Golden Blue Dude. And then underneath, you can put something, Go Tigers, whatever.
Yeah.
How about that?
Didn't they have like a Bitcoin guy out last week?
I'm not sure.
Because I remember like seeing a guy with like a Bitcoin code.
Well, I only got to watch like 45 minutes. Saturday was a little hectic for me, so I don't remember seeing that, but it's possible. It was in the earlier hours too, so I didn't get to see the end of it.
Yeah,
So, all right, man. Well, call back in on Saturday, and
All right.
if you go to game day, man, get that golden blue dude poster there.
All right.
All right, man. Have a good one.
Call you then. Bye.
All right, bye. Man, that would be sweet. Could you imagine that? Somebody to game day holding up a golden blue dude poster. That would be pretty awesome. Not even gonna lie. You were on with golden blue dude.
Hey, it's a sports nerd. What's up?
Not much, man. Not much. I'm really hoping that the previous caller can get the game day now, because that would be sweet if I watched game day and saw a golden blue dude poster.
He needs to start a consecutive streak like the Washington State flag for gold and blue dude.
I like it, and the viewers will be like, "What the heck? Golden? What? What is he talking about?" Google
Hey, man,
it.
free press.
Google it. Yeah. What's up, bud?
Well, I'm just happy I got to 1,000 subs, man.
Oh yeah. Awesome, dude.
I don't want to, pat myself on the back, but
No,
I
you
finally
should,
got there,
man.
1K.
You know that's hard work, man. You know it is.
And now it's going to be even harder work, like I told you, trying to get some actual monetization with this. But
That
I'll get there.
AdSense is ridiculous, man. Like, it can be confusing, but like I said, I'm gonna holler. I haven't been able to talk to him about it. He's been busy working, but if not today or tomorrow, definitely by the weekend, I'll get a hold of him and let you know what he says if you haven't got it figured out by then. But they're supposed to send you a code. That's one thing I do know.
I haven't gotten that yet. I don't know, something with the age verification. I don't know. It's all dumb, man. So, but either way, what's up, man? I just tuned into your show. What's the main hot topic of choice?
College football, man. Whatever you want to talk about. We've been talking about conference realignment. We've been talking about the Sun Belt. We talked about how Notre Dame didn't belong in the playoffs last year. Possible first ever Clemson Heisman Trophy winner in DJ Uiagalelei. Bunch of stuff, man. Whatever's on your mind, college football related.
Well, I mean, there has been a lot. Last few times I called in, and everybody's been talking about Pittsburgh and potentially them getting to 10 wins and even to the ACC title game.
I don't know about that last part.
I don't know about that, man. They have a decent schedule, but I don't know about that, man. I can't see Pittsburgh winning more than maybe 8 games. I don't know.
Personally, I have them going 9-3. That's the record that I predicted. Now they could they get Miami, Clemson, and North Carolina at home, and they could upset one of those teams. And then at the same time, if they do that, they could end up losing to somebody that they shouldn't. And that's why I have them at 9-3, just to be safe. They have a chance of getting 10 wins if they beat everybody that they're supposed to beat, and then upset either Clemson, Miami, or North Carolina at home. That's their chance of getting to 10 wins.
Well, they're in the coastal with Clemson. Am I correct?
Well, Clemson's in the Atlantic. They're in the coastal with Miami, North Carolina. But they get Clemson this year at home.
Okay, so they're not. They're in the opposite division.
Right, Clemson's in the Atlantic. They're in the coastal.
I always get confused. I just know Clemson, Florida State, and Syracuse are all in the same, and then it's Miami, UNC, and everybody else in the other one. So
hold on. Challenge real quick since you said that. All right, I'm gonna try to do this. All right, Atlantic. You got Clemson, NC State, Florida State, Wake Forest, Syracuse, and Boston College. There's one more team that I'm missing. Dadgummit. I knew that was gonna happen.
Duke.
No, Duke's in the coastal. Let me run through the coastal real quick then. Miami, North Carolina, Duke, Georgia Tech, Virginia. I'm missing one on there too. Does the ACC have 12 or 14 teams? I feel like they have 14 teams, so I'm missing
It's
one
14.
from each. Yeah, I'm missing Louisville. I always miss Louisville from the Atlantic. Good, yes. But I'm also missing one team from the coastal as well. Who did I freaking miss? Anyways, you move on, and I'll think about it. Maybe I didn't say Pitt.
What I did a video this past week, and it was based solely on the Nebraska-Illinois game. What was your projection for either of those two teams? What was Nebraska's over/under for wins this year?
Okay, so I thought Nebraska.
3 team.
I had Nebraska going 5-7, but outside possibility of going 6-6 and getting to a bowl. Illinois, I had them either 4-8, 5-7, kind of in the same range. And whenever I did my prediction, my spread pick for that game, like an idiot, not only did I take Nebraska, but I laid the 7. So here was my rationale. Nebraska had the better athletes and the bigger size. And that's a true statement. True statement. Nebraska had the better athletes and they had more size. What I didn't see were all the stupid mistakes they were going to make. I mean, who fields a punt within their own 1 yard line and then tries to throw it out of the back of the end zone? Like, what the heck was that? And then, less than a minute left in the second half, Martinez fumbles for a scoop and score. Like, any stupid thing that you can think of is what happened in that game, and it made me look like a freaking idiot.
Well, I just want to brag. I did take Illinois plus 7.5, so I did predict that one correct. But
good job.
They made some bad mistakes in the most inopportune time. Yeah, the fumble 6 right before half. They could have drove down, but instead it went the other way. And then,
or they could have kneeled the ball and ran the clock out. I mean, anything was better than that.
I mean, it was a 9-9 kind of game. It was very slow paced, and they just wanted to make something happen. And they had decent field position. It was like the 35 or something with like a minute left. But still, that was just bad luck on their part. But the beginning of the second half didn't help them either when they went down 23-9. I think Illinois took 7.5, 8 minutes off the clock too.
8 minutes, yeah.
But the biggest thing that stuck out to me was Illinois did this with their backup quarterback, Mr. Sitkowski, who had, going into this game, was a career touchdown interception 8-20. He had an 8-20 touchdown interception ratio.
Second longest streak of throwing a pass without an interception, by the way.
He did in that game?
Yeah, he still has that active streak. Did he throw an interception in that game? I don't think.
No, he had two touchdowns, no picks.
Okay, so his streak is still alive as the second longest streak without an interception. Right now, active. I did not know that. A backup quarterback. That's crazy.
Yeah, because Peters, I mean, he went to Michigan. He transferred to Illinois. He got injured for like the 4th year in a row. I mean, I don't know
in the first quarter.
Yeah, he gets injured all the time. I mean, he's just fragile. And then he came in, Sitkowski, whatever his name is, came in and, control the offense, and they just did what they wanted to, and then Nebraska almost came back, but if their kicker would have made their extra points, that last drive might have had
2 missed extra points too. My gosh.
Yeah, it would have been 20. It would have been 6 instead of 8 points. That last drive, Illinois might have been a little tighter there if they knew they would have lost with a touchdown versus not losing. So,
right.
But I don't know, man. I think this week, of all, there's only 5 games that played.
Hold on. Matthew Lane makes a good point. He would have thrown an interception because Nebraska did pick him off, but the roughing the passer penalty saved that streak. Good call right there. Sorry, I had to point that out.
That is true. I forgot about that one. So, but what I was saying, I guess, the team that's getting the most hype this week that is burning up the betting lines this week is UCLA. I think they're only like a 3-point underdog versus LSU at home. And I think LSU is going to win by double digits, at least a couple scores. But that is, I don't know. I think everybody's overhyping this win over Hawaii, who is a team. So
it's not just that; it's a bunch of factors. Okay, so number one, it's on the road. Now, I don't know how many people they're going to allow in the stadium, but it's still on the road. That's a factor. Okay. Number two, UCLA looked good against Hawaii. Now, Hawaii, bad team. Yes. We don't know how bad. We'll see the rest of the season. But number three, LSU got displaced from their practice facility and had to go over to Houston and practice because of Ida. So that could be a problem as well. People don't realize that these college athletes, they have routines. And if they get thrown off of that routine, it can really mess with you psychologically.
I agree with you. For a guy who played D3 football, away games were so much more different mindset, so much different routine you had to get into because you were hours away. You were in a hotel room. The night before, you would have to get up an hour or two earlier just to go to a facility. It's the unknown, and especially with, like you just said, their situation with the hurricane, and are they practicing in Texas or something? Or I'm assuming they're probably in California now, but
yeah, I think they're in Southern Cal now, but they practice in Houston.
Okay, that's what New Orleans, the Saints are doing too. I've heard.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
That could play a factor. Honestly, but at the same time, that has happened. But these teams do go, if it's a long road trip like this is across the country. They usually go, Tuesday or Wednesday. So the next 3 days, is kind of a normal routine for them, like a road trip. So,
and here's one more thing. LSU isn't the defending national champions this year. They just came off a 5-5 record. I'm not convinced that they're a great team.
They did finish the season off really well last year, though.
Yes, they did. But they also had some really head scratchers as well.
They did, but Penn State was also a top 8 team, and they finished 4-5 last year too. So then they were back to being the top 10 team. So it was just an off year, and Alabama was the only team that showed up for all 13 games last year, and because they were the only team that had athletes at every position and wanted to play. So, I don't know, man. That's just my take from the first. There's only 5 games that happened this past weekend, but I guess besides the Georgia Clemson game, what's the one you're looking forward to the most?
Yeah, definitely the Clemson Georgia game. Even though let me mention this real quick. Even though I missed the spread pick on Nebraska Illinois, I did hit the UCLA Hawaii. I took UCLA laid the 17, and I did take the under on the Nebraska Illinois. It was 54.5, and the points ended up being 52. So I still did all right. It's just I'm beating myself up over that. But as far as Clemson versus Georgia goes, Georgia's actually really banged up right now, and you combine that with Clemson having the superior coaching staff. I think Clemson could win this by 2 scores. I think it's possible. I think maybe a 10-win or a 10-point win is what I'm looking at. Maybe like a 41-31 type of thing.
I would not be surprised if it's double digits as well. Georgia's getting a lot of hype. They obviously, they win the preseason national championship every year for recruiting.
Yeah.
They have all the athletes. They have, everybody's favorite, dark horse Heisman, JT Daniels. And, of course, their defense is always going to be good. But at the same time, Clemson had the #1 recruiting class. They brought in, I think, 6 or 7 5-star recruits in one recruiting class.
Yeah.
They have, I don't know how many 5-stars they already have on the roster right now.
It's embarrassing.
But they just lost ETN, yes, but then they brought in this other dude from up here near Charlotte, North Carolina, 5-star running back.
That's their biggest question is the running game because, like I told the caller earlier, I think they actually upgraded at quarterback. Since Watson, I think Lawrence was an upgrade over Watson, and Uiagalelei is an upgrade over Lawrence. And their defense is going to be one of the best in the nation this year. They're going to have one of the best defensive lines in the nation, which they haven't been able to say for like 3 years. And so that their weakest part of their game will be their running game. But like you said, they recruited a 5-star running back. So really, how weak is it going to be, especially with a much improved offensive line?
Yeah, they're going to be Clemson. They're going to just, even if it starts off hot for Georgia, they always seem to start off hot in these big neutral site top 10 games. I think Clemson will, eventually get into their groove. They'll wear them down, and I can never know how to say the quarterback's name. I just call him DJ. But I think he'll pick up right where Lawrence left off, and I don't know who's saying Lawrence was better than Watson. Watson was a better college quarterback by far, in my opinion.
I think Lawrence was better than Watson, and Uiagalelei is better than Lawrence. I think they've upgraded throughout their recruiting.
I guess we'll just have to disagree on that one, but
I gotcha.
No, man. I think it's going to be. I think the spread right now is 3, maybe 3.5 for Clemson, but I think it could possibly be 2 scores.
Yeah.
So, what's the second biggest game you're looking forward to if they had to choose one other one?
Well, I also like the Miami-Alabama game. I think Alabama will control the game. I know I said this earlier in the live stream. They're going to control the game, but the final score is going to be deceiving. I think they'll beat Miami maybe by 2 touchdowns, maybe 13 points, 10 points, 2 possessions basically. But they'll be in control the entire game. It'll be like, they'll get ahead maybe by 2 or 3 touchdowns, then Miami will score, and then it'll just be a back and forth from there. But they'll control the game. And depth will wear out Miami. So if it's close at halftime, don't start thinking that Miami's going to pull the upset, because in the second half, the depth will wear them out.
Oh, no doubt. I don't think Miami has a chance. I mean, I think the spread right now is 19.5. So
that's crazy.
Miami will probably beat the spread. I don't think they'll get within 13 points though, like you said.
Right. I would take the points though. I would take 18.5, 19.
Yes,
I think that's too many.
Right now, so
I think that's too many.
I would take Miami in that one. That's just my take. So, I guess for me, I'm showing my Big Ten bias here, but I think the 2 ranked and unranked Big Ten matchups might steal the show this week. Indiana plays on the road at Iowa, and then Penn State plays at Wisconsin this week. So, I think those 2 might be, dark horse, steal the show this week. I think Wisconsin has a chance to beat a really good Penn State team coming off an awful year, who is now in top 10, I think. Yeah. And Iowa has a chance to, reclaim their dominance in the West, in the Big Ten West, and beat Indiana, who had a really spectacular year last year too. So I wouldn't look past those 2 games as well. So that's just my take.
Now, with the Indiana-Iowa game, it's at Iowa, and I think Iowa's going to get a little bit exposed this year. I'm not going to say they're bad, but I think they're an 8-4 team, and I think Iowa wins this convincingly. Now, it's going to be a sloppy game. It's not going to be a high-scoring blowout by, 3 touchdowns. I think Iowa will win maybe by 10, but it's going to be a convincing, grinded-out game, very entertaining, and that'll set Indiana down a path where, they're not going to meet the expectations that were set down this year. People are expecting them to win 10 wins, possibly challenge Ohio State. That's not going to happen, guys. They don't have the depth. They have great talent, and that quarterback who's coming back from injury, he's a pretty good quarterback. But they have a really tough schedule. And going 8-4 is really good, especially for Indiana. But if you're expecting them to go 10 wins, it's not going to happen. Now, Penn State, Wisconsin, that is going to be the game. I am very excited for that. I think Penn State has a chance to upset Wisconsin on the road. I'm still taking Wisconsin, but here's what I think. I think Penn State loses this in a close game, but they go on to have 10 wins. Wisconsin, I think, will have 1 loss or go undefeated, possibly get into the playoffs.
Well, if that happens, they would obviously have to go through Iowa State in the Big Ten title game. They'd have to go 13-0 to make the playoffs. Or if they do lose just 1 game, it would have to be to either Iowa or Michigan or another top tier Big Ten team.
Unless now if
Notre Dame too.
Now for Penn State, if they were to get to the Big Ten title game, and still lose to Ohio State, but let's say Ohio State, because they're green quarterback, they lose 2 other Big Ten games, and you have a rematch, a 1-loss Penn State who lost to Ohio State, but because Ohio State loses 2 other games, they get in, and an undefeated Wisconsin team who beat Penn State at the beginning of the year. That would be an interesting matchup. You'd have undefeated Wisconsin who beat Penn State against a 1-loss. No, that would be 2 losses, so they would have to beat Ohio State. So other way around. 1-loss Wisconsin and a 1-loss Penn State. Wisconsin lost to Penn State. Penn State lost to Ohio State. Still got matched up. I think that would be pretty interesting, and I think the winner of that would still get to the playoffs. A 1-loss Big Ten champ gets in.
Well, I think unless there's, some 2017, blowout by the Big Ten champ, I think there's no doubt the Big Ten will be one of the 4 teams at the top in the CFP this year.
Right.
In my opinion, it's Wisconsin's to lose in the West. I mean, Iowa
Agreed.
is always going to be there. They're always going to be 8-9 win team. But
And they get Iowa at home this year.
They do, and I don't think Iowa. They're light years away from the 2015 12-0 start kind of team.
Yeah.
I mean, that team also played one of the weakest schedules in the Power 5 as well.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they played. I don't think they played one ranked team before. They played Michigan State that year, but no, I think it's Wisconsin's to lose. I don't think anybody else comes close. Northwestern, they're going to have their dip this year. They went to the Big Ten title game, so naturally they'll be 2-10 this year. So. In the East, again, until I see otherwise, I don't, even with the new quarterback and, a new, offensive front, new defensive team, it's Ohio State's to lose. I mean, they have the best receiving core
That's
we've
fair.
seen in the Big Ten in I don't know how many years.
Yeah.
They have Master Teague. They brought in a 5-star true freshman at running back.
See, that's where I think they could be weak as well, because Master Teague was actually not doing all that great. What was the name of the running back that took over and was it Trey Sermon?
It was, yes.
Trey Sermon, and he's off to the NFL. That's the big possible step back that Ohio State's looking at. Running game takes a step back. Green quarterback might be a tricky situation because I'm not high on Master Teague. I thought he was kind of good in 2019, and then last year he just lost his starting job to an amazing Trey Sermon. How's his confidence, after that? And I just don't think he's going to have a great year. So I think it'll be up to the other guy that they recruited. Now, one last thing before I let you go, okay?
Okay.
Underrated division in all of college football this year, I think, is going to be the Pac-12 South. You're going to have USC. You're going to have Utah, who has the possibility of having a 10-win season. You're going to have Arizona State. Yes, they have allegations, but they could win the Pac-12 South. They have a lot of talent. And then you have an up-and-coming UCLA. I think that is going to be one of the most interesting divisions in all of college football.
I can't say I disagree with you on that one. UCLA showed out week 1. You said Arizona State, correct?
Yes.
They're everybody's sleeper pick, or kind of hot pick to win the Pac-12 their division as well. Utah is always going to be a steady 8-9 win team, and of course USC is probably the favorite right now. But I totally agree with you. That is a good division. I do think that I don't name on the top of my head right now. You probably can kind of caught me off guard, so I can't really say anything probably after this week. So I'll let you have this one, and I'll probably get back to that one and see what the biggest underrated division is for college football this year. So,
well, the biggest thing that popped out to me, okay, Utah, they have pretty much their entire defense coming back, and they got a transfer by the name of Charlie Brewer from Baylor, and they're saying this guy is looking even better than what he did at Baylor. Maybe Baylor didn't, quite use him the way they should have. Still had a great career. That's why I think Utah has a definite shot of getting 10 wins and possibly winning the South. And so you throw them in there with Arizona State, USC, and then UCLA looked really good. Pac-12 South, man, I'm telling you, it's going to be a fun one to watch for sure.
We'll have to wait till week 13 or week 14, whatever the heck the last week is, see who decides it then. So.
Yep, that's it.
All right, man. Appreciate you having me on. I guess I'll throw in my credentials here real quick. Just visit me at the Sports Nerd. Finally got to 1,000 views. I'm going to start doing reviews every Saturday night after all the games are played. So come join me then. Well, everything is going to be analytics, stats related. So if you guys want to, fact checked based analysis, come check me out.
Good stuff, man. Well done.
All right, man. Have a good night.
Have a good one, bud. I always get kind of nervous whenever Sports Nerd comes in because that dude is, man, he knows his analytics and stats. So he tests me, and for the most part, I can hold my own. But this guy, man, he's very knowledgeable when it comes to the stats, and analytics. Great job. Man, I had a fun time, guys. Get a little tired, though. Got to work tomorrow, too. So if you didn't get to call in tonight, call in Saturday. And let me tell you something. Let me explain this, okay? Saturday nights will be the best time to call in. I'm calling it my Raw Reaction call-in show, okay? And it depends on the primetime games when they're over with. So I'm not laying down a time, okay? I usually said 9 o'clock, but it's going to be directly after a primetime game. Now, if somebody's getting blown out and, maybe it's like, I don't know, 38-7 or 38-10, half of the fourth quarter left, I might go on then, okay? But don't forget about my score prediction contest. Here's how it works. All you do is go over to my Patreon page and join it. There's 3 levels, the $4.99 a month, the $9.99 a month, and the $19.99 a month, okay? The $4.99 gets 1 prediction guess per week. The $9.99, 2 prediction guesses per week. The $19.99, 4 prediction guesses per week. And right now, I'm guaranteeing $20 to the winner who comes the closest to the score every week. And you can win more than once. If I get enough Patreons, I'm going to bump that up to 50. So the size of the prize money is up to you guys. It is up to you guys. The more Patreons I have, the higher that prize money will be. So think of it this way. The money that you pay for the Patreon is basically funding the prize money. I'm not making anything off of this. I just don't want to lose money. I don't want to be hemorrhaging money. So that's why I decided to make it Patreon page. That way, whoever's on a Patreon, you're paying for the prize throughout the year. And there's, you know what? We might go through the national championship. So that would be a total of like 16 weeks. So, if you're really, really good and won every single week, that'd be a lot of money. Probably not going to happen. But let's say you win 5 times. That's still a lot of money. That's $100 right there. If it goes up to 50, 250. I almost did my math wrong. Yeah, 250. So you can make a lot of money. So y'all do that. I want the prize money to go. Wouldn't it be awesome if I could bump it up to $100 a week? Man, that would be crazy. So lowest level, $4.99, 1 guess per week. Mid-level, $9.99, 2 guesses per week. Highest level, $19.99, 4 guesses per week. Y'all go check it out, and we'll see how high we can get that prize money. I hope y'all enjoyed the live show. I always have a great time. I love talking college football. Sometimes I get overexcited and trip over my words, and that's why whenever I put out my regular videos, you see a lot of cuts, because it happens a lot. On my live show, I can't edit that out, so you'll see me trip over words and stuff because I love college football. Y'all have a good night. Take a deep breath. And the first full college football Saturday is coming this Saturday. Raw Reaction live show after the primetime game. How about that? That's going to be awesome. And I'm going to do my spread pick video for Saturday's game probably tomorrow. I already did Thursdays and Fridays. So on Saturdays, spread pick probably tomorrow. So y'all stay tuned for that. Videos every day. Never miss a day. Y'all have a good night, and I will see you on Saturday.